This is the message which you have heard from the beginning, that we should love one another. Throughout the writings of St. John, this simple message comes through. But he goes on here to warn us and not be like Cain, who was of the evil one and murdered his brother. And he goes even further to analyze what was in Cain. And why did he murder him? Because his own deeds were evil and his brother's righteous. Envy. And he goes on even further to explain that this is the pattern of the whole world. Do not wonder, brethren, that the world hates you. So we have two categories. We know that we have passed out of death into life. Then he goes on to the evidence that that is the case, because we love the brethren. Is that not exactly what we see as we look around the world? Hatred or love, light or darkness, pleasure in someone else's rejoicing, or envy and jealousy at someone else's success. It's more of the same thing, and that same thing is the sin of Lucifer, who envied and wanted more, and had a horrible envy and hatred when he was given to understand that there would be some creature greater than himself he would not adore. But we have this curious picture of Cain, the firstborn. What happened? These two brothers, Abel and Cain, offered their worship. One was in the realm of agriculture, the other in the realm of rearing animals. The sacrifice of one was accepted and that of the other was rejected, not because of the content, but because of the motive and the interiority which was there or not there. And then this envy came in, and Cain, thinking that he could not be seen, hence the reaction, "Am I my brother's keeper?" when he was found out, is to eliminate this competitor. And so the firstborn was the first fallen, in the sense that Adam was able to be called back, but this one was not. He went even further and was hardened in this envy. Now I make a jump of many centuries into our own time. In the 1970s, there was a series of very alarming exorcisms, and we have on tape much of what happened in there. It was Annalisa Miguel who was being exorcised by a very holy priest, and it was for the glory of God that this was allowed to go on. At one stage, she was given the choice by Our Lady to be freed or to carry on, because every time she was suffering it was meritorious, and this lassie opted to carry on. Eventually she died. But what happened was that the truth coming out from under the realm of Satan was astoundingly for our time. It was the time following the council when the demon was obliged under exorcism to say the truth, even though he is the father of lies. And we have coming there very interesting glances into what he was doing, demolishing the church, pushing things which were in the interest of demolishing the sacred. But then we also have other things coming in which are quite frightening. Among the presences in this possessed soul were those of human demons, spirits of people who had lost their soul and were coming back. And we have the voice of Hitler down there. And they wanted to be sure it was him, and he was answering in his Austrian accent, "Ja, ich bin Hitler." We also have Judas Iscariot coming there, a model of bishops who went the wrong way, abusing the huge grace they had, and pushing others also to suicide. We have Nero coming there, who had done so much harm to the early church. We have also, yes, Cain coming out. Now that's not indifferent. Why? It tells you that he was, and unfortunately he still is, but in the wrong place. It tells you also that we need to be a little humbler before dismissing what has come down to us from those who are closer to the source than we were. If Cain is obliged to come out, that is, his voice to be heard in exorcism, it means perhaps the Lord is allowing us to be aware that what has come down to us from ancient times is based not on myth but on truth. And that the Lord was the second Adam, his Holy Mother was the second Eve, and that this firstborn of Adam and Eve really did exist and was the first to lose himself. Just be aware of that before dismissing too easily what actually has come back from way beyond time. And remember also that before books came along, the tongue and the ear and the memory were the channels of communication. And without books, the memory and the tongue and the ear were very, very important. Remember also that science is not actually against us when it comes to proving that such things as the flood existed. It comes not only in Genesis, but also in Gilgamesh, and there is evidence even in archaeology that there was some massive flood. The same applies also to the actual ark. It's not just myth. Scientists have seen that actually there is the form of a coral-covered huge vessel on what would have been Mount Ararat, now submerged underwater. But it can't be directly investigated because of the political situation in that area. They've also found evidence, again from high tech, that there are coral-covered chariots there at the correct place at the crossing of the sea. In other words, these are not myths, just. And also, with regard to Sodom and Gomorrah, recent archaeological studies have shown that they are there, and it corresponds exactly to what would have happened. A very high conflagration and huge amount of energy giving this rock formation, which would be exactly the consequences thereof, at the correct spot, geography. So a little humility would perhaps be closer to the truth. Why? Pride was exactly the starting point of the fall of the first one to fall, Lucifer, who wants us all to fall with him and is trying his best.